Hello, fight fans. I'm that boxing writer, Jeremy C. Harridges, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And let's talk some boxing. Well, the business end of boxing, right? As you could probably guess, well, by the title and the description in the video, but also my shirt, right? I'm wearing a Canelo shirt today on purpose, and not necessarily to champion his decision to sue, just merely because he's the topic of conversation. So yes, late September 8th, Mike Coppinger's tweet alerted everyone to the fact that Canelo Alvarez is suing Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya personally, along with DAZN and other entities, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But, you know, it is surprising to see the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world sue everybody. The bigger part is we can also see how the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world feels the need to sue everybody. Yes, it's one part pandemic messing with the business model of DAZN and Golden Boy and their plan. However, there's more to it than just that. Right now, I've got an article up on cited.com called Everything You Need to Know About the Canelo Alvarez Lawsuit of Golden Boy and DAZN. I know, it's an original title, isn't it? In it, I take you through my interpretation of the actual lawsuit. If you click on it, you'll also see that I've linked up the lawsuit so you can take a look and you could read it yourself, all 24 pages. I'll break it to you. It's not very exciting, okay? No law briefing or lawsuit is ever going to be entertaining. And I got to say, not that I'm the best writer in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but man, these lawyers are not very good writers. I put it in and I'm looking through it, and the few quotes that I used within my article, let me tell you, Grammarly had a field day with them. Yeah, lawyers don't know how to use commas. Anyway, that's the English teacher in me coming out. Looking at this lawsuit, everyone's asking, who's in the right, who's in the wrong? Is Canelo right? Is DAZN right? What do we think about this? And so far, based on social media, what I'm seeing is that a lot of people have mixed feelings about the whole thing. You can take a look at Canelo and say, oh, he's greedy. There's a pandemic. And he wants all of his millions of dollars, right? He doesn't need all that money. Whenever you have to say he doesn't need all that money, that's a terrible argument right there. The other end of this whole thing is looking at DAZN. Yes, they're going through a hard time, and I really like the people over at DAZN, the ones that I've engaged with and met. And unfortunately, a lot of those people are going through a very hard time right now. Many of the people at DAZN that I know have lost their jobs. So we're talking about something very serious going on over there. However, if we look at this thing from the very beginning, it's almost like it was set up to fail. First thing that I kind of touched base on within my article, as I'm scrolling through it right now on fansided.com/boxing, what you'll see is that there was a lot of misunderstanding. At least that's what Canelo's lawsuit says. And we have to remember that this lawsuit is strictly from his perspective, and of course is supposed to make him look good because he's trying to win millions and millions of dollars and get free of his contract. Ultimately, that's what this is about. But the first thing that surprised me is the licensing fee that DAZN was contractually obligated to pay Canelo. $40 million is the licensing fee that DAZN had to shell out every time they wanted to show they wanted to broadcast a Canelo Alvarez fight. That's a lot of money. I don't know a whole lot about the business and about boxing. I don't know a whole lot about licensing fees, but $40 million for a fight every single time, that seems pretty steep. Probably wasn't the best move, and they definitely overpaid, in my estimation at least. Hold on, need to get some tea. My voice is acting up. Some tea with my UK friends. All right, back at it. So $40 million, that's the first issue. And again, this was going to happen every fight, and minus the Rocky Fielding fight, or if there was a lesser opponent, you know, there seemed like that there was some wiggle room there. Here's a part that got me very interested, and I quote, Prior to these discussions with defendants, Alvarez was unaware that DAZN believed Golden Boy Promotions had promised that he would fight Golovkin, unaware that DAZN contract gave DAZN the right to reject the opponents he selected, and was unaware that the DAZN contract contained clauses potentially inconsistent with those of the Alvarez contract stated in the court filing. Well, this is a bad business model. What you find out here is that it doesn't seem like, as crazy as it seems, that DAZN, Golden Boy, and Canelo all sat down and hammered out an agreement on paper and signed it. What Canelo's legal filing actually shows us is that he dealt with Golden Boy and basically signed a waiver or a contract of some sort saying, hey, I give you the power to go negotiate for me with DAZN on my behalf. And whatever you guys do, it's all cool. Apparently it wasn't all cool, or at least what was presented to him. And that's part of the fraud/concealment element that he's included within his lawsuit. He's saying that Golden Boy told him one thing, hey, we got you this deal. Oh yeah, you have the right. You can pick all your opponents and everything's good. And apparently that's not what they actually negotiated on his behalf, but he wasn't there and he wasn't present for it, according to the court filing that Canelo and his team submitted. That seems pretty astounding. Whenever you have someone doing something on your behalf, you know, it happens all the time in business. However, you would think that someone like Canelo would want to be present, have a copy of something. It's hard to believe that he didn't have any sort of paper or litigation outlining the terms of his deal with DAZN through the behalf of Golden Boy. And whenever you're dealing with three parties separate like that, it just seems like that this whole thing was doomed to fail from the very beginning. At least that's the way I saw it. I'm not going to go over to say someone, yeah, just negotiate away. I trust you. Or at least I'm not going to say, sign a paper saying that. If it's got my name on it and it's going to be paying me or someone else millions of dollars because of me, I'm going to want to sign that piece of paper. I don't know, call me crazy. With the whole pandemic, we couldn't have a crowd. That much is sure. What people are jumping on Canelo on is saying, why are you suing people right now for obscene amounts of money? You know there's no way they can afford to pay you that right now. And most people, almost everybody, is having to take a pay cut because they can't get the live gate. That's where a lot of the money was going to come from. Have a heart, Canelo. Give them a break. They don't have the money. They need a gate. You can't expect $40 million licensing fee for all your fights when there's no gate. They can't pay you. That's fair. However, Canelo does say that, hey, we were willing to entertain other offers, and we did. We would come up to agreement, something that would help compensate me for the money that they couldn't pay me up front. That seemed to be stock options in DAZN, which right now doesn't sound like a great investment, but I could be wrong and they could skyrocket and maybe that stock blows up. I don't know. I'm not a numbers guy when it comes to business. But they promised him that along with cash considerations. And he said it amounted to a fraction of what the original agreement said he was owed, that $40 million. If that's the case and it's a fraction, I'm really interested to hear what he considers a fraction of $40 million. They didn't give a number. They didn't say they offered, $10 million, $15 million, $20 million. A fraction, which could mean anything. And to be fair, we haven't heard from DAZN what they actually offered him. So I think that's part of it as well. So you've got some of the sting of deceit, where he said he didn't realize that he owed DAZN a fight with Golovkin. He didn't realize that they could reject opponents. And that seemed to irk him, the things that weren't said. And when he went back many months ago and made a comment about Oscar De La Hoya being disloyal, this kind of plays back into that, doesn't that? Trust issues. You didn't tell me this. You told me a different thing. Now I'm going to sue you for fraud. That seems fair. You also have the other element of money here. Hoping he didn't expect to get all $40 million. Technically, that's what's in his contract. So he can press to get that money. Of course, the company can say, hey, we're going through rough times and we can't pay that. And that leaves you with a decision. What are you going to do? I think it's also the other reason that he actually went ahead with the lawsuit is he wasn't happy with the way that they were handling his current situation. He wants to fight. He doesn't have all the time in the world here. He's getting older. Get him some fights. Yes, he's still very young, but you don't want to waste your prime. He wants to get in the ring, and if they're saying, nah, Avni Yildirim, nah, we're not going to do that fight. Sorry, we're rejecting that. Well, if he was willing to do it, then obviously that's going to irk him a little bit. Now, of course, nobody wants to see him fight Avni Yildirim, right? I didn't want to see that fight. That's not what we consider a very competitive fight. Now, does he have to adjust his reality now? Yeah, he probably does. And here's where we have to guess. If they said, okay, we'll give you $20 million to go fight one of these guys, would he do it? That I don't know. Or does he see that as the eject button? Okay, I've got you through a bit of a bind here. And maybe he did see that he had DAZN and Golden Boy, who probably wasn't terribly pleased with right now, in a bind. You can't meet my contractual obligations. You misrepresented what you said to me. So why do I have to stay here and wait for you to make the right decision? I don't. Give me my money. Give me my walking papers. I'm out. I can't get too angry with Canelo for this. He's contractually obligated to something. He's not happy based on a history of problems that he's had, primarily with Golden Boy, even though it seems like DAZN is taking the brunt of this lawsuit. Let's be quite honest. If he's not happy and you can't meet his demands, now he's got leverage. And he can use that leverage within court to get what he wants. Is he going to get his full amount of money? No, he's asking for $280 million. Is he going to get $280 million? I'm not Nostradamus here, but I highly doubt it. I think he's got a number in mind to where they'll pay him and he can walk away and do his own thing. I'm sure it's going to get hashed out in arbitration. Is this going to go the full route into years of court cases? I don't think so. I think a settlement figure gets worked out. What's a number that Golden Boy and DAZN can agree to pay Canelo Alvarez to just walk away? From there on out, I see Canelo doing his own thing, doing his best Floyd Mayweather Jr., creating his own company, his own brand, his own promotional company. Younger fighters than him are doing it. Lions Only. And now you've got Devin Haney with his own company. Younger fighters are learning that, hey, I want to be my own promoter. They're young, they're getting into it. And Canelo has the power to do it. He's got the money to do it. He's got the star power to do it. That's what I see happening. Watch for Canelo Promotions and he becomes his own Oscar De La Hoya, so he can get dragged into court and sued eventually down the line. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with me, listen to some of my ramblings. Remember, if you like what you're seeing, make sure to hit the subscribe button down in the bottom corner. If you have something to add, you agree with me, disagree with me, think I'm a nut, put the comments down below. I want to hear what you have to say. And on the off chance that I get to talk to Canelo at some point, let me know what you would want me to ask. I'm sure that he can't comment too much right now on what's going on with his court case, but you never know. I've talked to him before. I may get the chance to talk to him again. So that's all for this little video. If you like it, click subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'm out.